Good morning, kids. Today we are going to discuss a new lesson, number 6, The Storm. This lesson is written by Ruskin Bond, a famous Indian writer. He lives in Uttarakhand. His books are loved by children and also by the big people. Many of his stories are about the people and places in North India. His stories are very simple, beautiful, and funny. So let's enjoy this lesson, The Storm. So all of you take out your book. The Storm. We are used to sudden storms up here high in the hills. The old building in which I live has for over 100 years stood against the force of the wind and rain. Now what happened? The story is being told by a writer. The speaker here is telling you that the coming of storms, is very much usual in the hilly areas. And the building where he is living is about 100 years old. It's a 3-storied building, and I live on the top floor with my adopted family, 3 children and their parents. That means he is living in that building. It's a 3-storied building, and he lives on the top floor with the adopted family. Adopted family means a family that is not your own, but that you love as if they are your own family, living with some other family. In this paragraph, the speaker is telling you about the building, The roof is made of tin sheets with a ceiling of wooden boards. It had held fast in other storms. Held fast means stand stiff, firm. But that night, the wind came rushing at us with the wool. The old roof groaned and clattered for many hours. The wind was so strong that the roof was making different types of sounds. The rain hit the window and the lights kept coming and going. Now, as usual, whenever it starts raining, what happened? The light used to come and sometimes go, isn't it? Just like that here also, when the rain was falling, it was what? The lights were coming and going. We could not sleep, but we stayed in bed for warmth and comfort. Now what happened? The storm was very strong, And at that time, they were not able to sleep. And what they did? They were in the bed for warmth and comfort because it was a very winter day, After about 4 hours, the roof could take it no more. My part of it was the first to go. Now what happened? The house has 3 rooms, you can say. The first room was the room where the speaker is staying there. And then what happened? After about 4 hours, the roof was not able to take it. And what happened? The tin sheet blew off. The wind got under the roof until with a ripping sound, the metal sheets blew off. Now what happened? Ripping sound means making a very noisy noise, Some of them dropped with claps like thunder on the roadside. And now what happened? The tin sheet fell down on the roadside. But suddenly, I felt icy water on my face. Now what happened? As soon as you can see in the picture, the tin sheet blew up and what happened? The rain directly poured into the room. A large part of the ceiling had blown off. Water was also pouring onto my open typewriter and onto the radio, bed covers and clothes cupboard. Picking up my precious typewriter, I stumbled into the front room. Water poured through the window slats down on the bookshelves. By now, the children had joined me. That means, in this paragraph, you can see the speaker is telling you how he is facing the danger, or you can say how he is keeping or trying to keep the things away so that the things doesn't get wet. The first thing that he picked up was the typewriter. And he stumbled into the front room. Stumbled into the front room means with great difficulty he went to the other room. And water was pouring through the window. And the water was falling where? It was falling on the bookshelves. As he was trying to shift all the things, the children joined him. There were some children staying with him. Okay, the children came and joined him. Dolly and her brother picked up armfuls of books and carried them into their room. Now what happened? Dolly and her brother Mukesh, you will see his name. Dolly and Mukesh picked up some handfuls of books because they are very small. Only a few books they can carry, and they carried them into their room. The room was wet. As the water was pouring inside the room after the tin sheet blew up, what happened? The floor was wet. So the books had to be piled on the beds. Suddenly, a large field rat leaped onto the desk. Now what happened when the children were shifting all the things, okay, from one place to another? A large field rat leaped onto the desk, and Dolly squealed and ran for the door. Suddenly a rat appeared. "It's all right," said Mukesh, her brother. "He is only looking for shelter from the storm. Just like the people are moving from this room to the other room, just like that this rat is also moving from one place to the other room so that he can get proper shelter from the storm." Two rooms were now roofless. Okay, roofless means there were no tins. The wind blew off all the tins of these two rooms. We saw flashes of lightning and then the lights went out. Flashes of lightning means bijuli mari ase and they can see that. The children's father had already found a lamp, and we went on moving books, papers and clothes to the children's room. So though the light was not there, okay, they with the help of the lamp shifted the things from one place to the another, and especially they shifted everything to the children's room. Now what happened, you see? Our feet were freezing. Tables and chairs were piled high with books. The beds were pushed into the driest corner of the children's room. There, huddled in blankets and quilts, we spent the rest of the night while the storm blew. Now what happened? Our feet were freezing. Here, what does it mean? As the room was filled with water, rainwater, and it was a very cold night, their feet were freezing. That means ভৰিকিখন ঠাণ্ডাত গুট মাৰি গৈছিলে, and all the tables and chairs were there, okay, and it was like piled up with books and all. Slowly the wind stopped and it began to snow. Now what happened? The wind stopped, but another thing came, and it was like snowing. Snowflakes drifted through the gaps in the ceiling, settling everywhere. As there was no roof, okay, the snowflakes were entering inside the room, okay, and it was settling everywhere. Early next morning, we found the window panes covered with snow and icicles. Okay, so next morning what happened? They can see that everywhere it was snow, and even the window panes were covered with snow and icicles. Icicles means long, thin, pointed pieces of ice, okay, that hang from a roof. Then the rising sun shone through the gaps in the ceiling and turned everything to gold. Snow crystals that were lying here and there, also even in the empty bookshelves, it was shining like the diamond. Then what happened next? The children's father went out to find a carpenter and a tinsmith. So next morning, as there was no roof, okay, then what happened? The children's father went out to find a carpenter as well as a tinsmith. Carpenter we know, isn't it? And tinsmith is a person who makes and repairs things made of tin and other metals. The rest of us started putting things in the sun to dry out. So as it was a very hectic night for them, they were shifting all the things from one place to another. Some got wet. So next morning what they did? They started putting things in the sun to dry out. And by evening, we had got much of the roof on again. And so when the carpenter and the tinsmith came and helped them out, by the evening they had roof on their top again. So this is a very interesting story. Many word meanings are given there. Okay, so learn the word meanings and go through the lesson again and again. This is very interesting. And question answers I'll give you in the next class. Thank you.